Okay, so this is a brief introduction for the Swampbox players. This is a private server, by the way, so if you're not aware of Swampbox, then this isn't going to apply to you remotely. Uh, at any rate, this is a brief introduction to the test server for Swampbox players, so you can see what Kim and I have been up to and why we haven't been on the production server very much. Um, this is our abode as it stands right now. I should also mention that this cool thing here is a back tools mod. Any tools that you have equipped, the last tool you used goes on your back while your current tool goes in your hand, so it's pretty neat. Alright, so we don't have very much as far as decoration goes, but fancy house. Most of the same things that you're already familiar with from Tech Ed. You see the rubber trees outside. We do have a few new toys. These barrels are one of the most fun. Each barrel will hold only one type of item, but it can hold 64 stacks of that item, and you can expand that with an upgrade. We use a ton of them. In here is mostly the workshop. I've got our Thaumcraft materials, which I'll get into in a moment here, and Mistcraft is here. I'll also get into that. That's IC. I've been trying not to use it. The only reason that we have that is because we needed a compressor in order to make iron blocks, which is what gives us this anvil. And this is vanilla. You can use this to repair enchanted items without losing the enchantment. You can also name them, so it's pretty fun. These are new. This, if I remember correctly, is from Thermal Expansion. This uses Buildcraft power instead of IC power, but it does mostly the same thing that that the IC machines were familiar with too. This is the engine. It produces power and pushes it through these pipes down below. The engine is powered by lava. It's a magmatic engine. There are about 10 to 12 different types of engines with different sources of power. The new Buildcraft machines all have these really cool displays showing what they're doing at the time and how to configure them. So that's one of the things that attracted me away from IC, even though I've expressed a dislike of Buildcraft in the past. This machine here turns certain materials into lava. Netherrack is the cheapest, so this is pretty much an infinite loop as long as I keep putting netherrack into this hopper at the top. These help eliminate the problem that I had with Buildcraft pipes, which was that they would spew items on the ground if you got backed up anywhere, so hoppers are great for that. This is a pulverizer, which functions much the same way that a macerator does, but as you can see, some of the inputs and outputs are color-coded, and you can configure that here, and they correspond to the sides of the machine. So you can change the way that the machine interacts with things around it without having to mess with pipes or do any weird pipe wrangling to get things into the top of one machine, but the side of another. One other great thing is that this pulverizer, because it's configured to put its output out the left side from my perspective, pushes it into the input of this powered furnace here. Powered furnace works exactly like you'd expect, and it puts its output into this chest. Most ores, regardless of what mod they're coming from, they go through the ore index. So you can pulverize pretty much anything, and pulverizing gives you you get a small chance to get some extra stuff from it. So you still get 2 dusts just as you would with a macerator, but like with copper, you have an occasional chance to get gold. So it works out pretty well for that. This is a Mistcraft writing desk. These on top are lecterns that have Mistcraft books in them. I'm going to turn off these labels in the default config, but for right now, and I just haven't gotten around to it. So the way that I know this is crazy. The way that this works is that you have a notebook, and the notebook contains a series of symbols, and you can use those to write a new world that you want the game to create. So you can see that this book that I wrote, I named it Endless Forest because it's a single biome forest. And it's completely flat, but it's got a few features that made it pretty handy for mining. It has no weather, it's eternal day, there are mine shafts and all sorts of things crammed into it. Mostly I just run the turtle quarry in there. This one is one that I'm experimenting with. It's a jungle, but it doesn't really matter because I created it as a void age. So there's absolutely nothing here. It's always night, and it's just empty. However, if I remember correctly, I made it bright. So even without torches, you can see without any problems. Monsters will still spawn though, even if it's bright. So I'm planning to use it as a mob spawner and just have them drop 23 blocks so that I can get XP out of that. But I haven't gotten it to work properly yet, so I don't really want to show that. This is a Thaumcraft research table. If you've played with Technic before, you would have seen Thaumcraft 2, and you would have found that that the research was kind of a lottery. You just spew a bunch of cobble into the Quisatum, and you eventually may or may not get things out of it. The research system in Thaumcraft 3 is much more sensible. You first have to make, well, you don't have to, but it's the easiest way to start. You'll need to make this Thaumonomicon, and as you can see, I've got a couple of little magical books down here. But the Thaumonomicon, if I could stop clicking on things, just shows you a few things to start, and then you have to unlock everything else. And I don't want to show too much of that because spoilers. But basically, you're going to make yourself a wand, which, you know, you're a wizard, Harry. And then you'll need to use the wand to create other things, and this work table will be one of the first things that you're able to create and use to make your magical items and things. If you notice, these tools are purple. They are thaumium, which is a magical ore, and it's not overpowered. I know a couple of you are probably rolling your eyes because I'm obsessed with magical mods for some reason. But anyway, the Thaumium is actually a little bit weaker than Diamond. The advantage to it is that it's a little easier to enchant than Diamond. So you don't get as many uses out of it. So you're going to be using a lot more of your resources to repair. But it is easier to enchant, and it can still break the same things that Diamond breaks. This is the infusion table, if I remember the proper name for it. This one is basically a high-powered version of this guy, but it kind of leads us into aspects, which I should have explained first, so I apologize for that. Basically, every item has a few aspects. The aspects are assigned based on, you know, the way the item was formed or what it does. So, for instance, a stick just has a wood aspect, and a shovel has a couple of aspects. It's got wood because it's made of wood. You know, the stick is part of it, so it inherits that stick's properties. It also has the tool aspect. It has the breaking aspect because it has cobblestone as the tip, and the rock aspect at the end also comes from cobblestone. And iron ore will have similar things. Redstone has different aspects. There are about 50 aspects in the game, and finding them and finding things that are easy to get with each of these aspects is a lot of the fun. You may also notice that these items, which come from forestry, if you're not already familiar, these items are mod items, but they already have aspects. Now, the way that the game does this is that Thaumcraft will check to see what components are used or what items are used to make this item, and it takes that item's aspects and just assigns it to this. So pretty much everything, regardless of what mod it comes from, will wind up with some aspects. So one thing that I wanted to demonstrate is how you use this crucible here, which you can see it's got some extra fanciness and it's bubbling, which crucibles don't normally do. This isn't just a crucible, this is a, well, now I can't think of the name. Oh, cauldron. It's not a vanilla cauldron, it started that way, but it's now a crucible, which you can use to make fancy things from Thaumcraft. So these nether warts that I'm throwing in, they have three aspects. There's the mushroom aspect, there's ignis, which is fire, and the last one, which I don't remember the name for it, but it's basically chaos. So I'm throwing those in because I need the ignis aspect for what I'm making. The torch has lux, which is just light. It's got one of these, so I know it's got one lux compared to the two machina that, or not potentia, the two potentia, the guy with the fist with a lightning bolt that the redstone has. So I need to make these match for what I'm making, and you'll see what I'm making in a moment. But basically I throw all of these into the cauldron and whack it with my magic wand. So let me get the rest of these in here. Okay, now let me get my magic wand off my table, which I don't know if you could see it very clearly in the video, but the magic wand likes to float around on top of this table when you have it here, which I think is pretty awesome. So I'll put this guy on my bar. Now, before I right-click this, which is all you have to do to get it to use whatever is in here, before I right-click this, I'm going to put these goggles on. These goggles they're not a late-game item for Thaumcraft. You can get them pretty early if you work for it, but they are very, very useful, and I hate having them off my head. So they make it so that when you look at the cauldron, you can see all the aspects inside it. So they're amazingly convenient. Now, the item that I'm making is called Nitor. It uses only a few of these aspects. It'll use Lux and Potentia, which are these two here, as well as Ignis on the far right there. So these other aspects are going to get dumped into the environment, and the environment's already pretty angry with me because I've been being a little wasteful with my my enchanting. I made these boots last night, and I dumped several hundred units of aspects that I didn't actually need into the aura, but I like the boots, so I'm just kind of living with it. And there's some bad things that can happen whenever you are wasteful with the aura, or with aspects rather, and there are ways you can inhibit that those problems. So I'm going to go ahead and right click it, and I get these Nitor. Now Nitor is usually a stepping stone onto bigger and better things, so you wouldn't do a whole lot just having Nitor around, but last night I was reading the patch notes and I found out that you can place Nitor as a torch. So, well, isn't that fancy? That's pretty cool. I haven't seen that before, so I probably should have tested that off camera, but it's I like it. So I'll put that back in my inventory. I'm going to put my wand in here. One of the bad things that was happening because of all the crap that I've been dumping into the environment was that it was storming constantly, like lightning and rain, not just the normal rain that you might get. So I kept turning rain off, and I hope it doesn't start raining while I'm doing this, but I'm going to go show you guys what powers Thaumcraft, and I'll explain what I mean by that while I'm up there. And I'll show you that in a moment too. It's nothing too fancy, but I think it looks awesome. The boots that I'm wearing, by the way, they make me run a lot faster, and they also make it so that even full blocks act as stairs, which is immensely convenient all the time. Almost all the time. I run off this cliff quite a bit since I put these boots on, but I just need to get used to them. Alright, so the way that Thaumcraft works, you might have noticed in the bottom left whenever I had the goggles on, and I took them off for a good reason. I'll show you again. They showed that there was an aura in the area. There was kind of a little purple thermometer there. Now, the reason that they do that, or rather the importance of that aura, is that whenever you do any kind of magical things with Thaumcraft, whenever you do anything magical with Thaumcraft, you take that aura either out of your wand or out of the environment, and that aura comes from an aura node. Now, you can see here that this wand is currently holding 250 Vis. The auras hold Vis, the aura nodes hold Vis, and anything in the environment that tries to absorb Vis takes it from that aura node. So when I made this Nitor, it took 15 Vis out of my wand, and then the aura recharged my wand. So you normally can't see those aura nodes, although they can really affect you. Like right now, I know there's high flux, so I'm trying to keep an eye out for any wisps that might try to come kill me. But when you have the goggles of revealing on, you can see them outright. This one, as you can see, is shooting some awful bolts of lightning out. Those won't hurt you, but they just show you that the aura is pissed off. If you look down here, you'll see it says F high. That means the flux level is very high right now. It was dangerous earlier, so it's getting a little better. And it gets better as you as you kill wisps. And I believe silverwood trees also absorb it. But silverwood trees are very rare, and I don't have too many saplings for them yet. Anyway, you may also notice this guy down here. This is from a different mod called Dust Mod. Dust does some similar things to the way that Thaumcraft works, in that you get random little magical effects that may or may not make a huge deal. They start off pretty simply, like you can make a torch on the ground just by putting a couple of pieces of dirt or plant matter down, and then you use this black book here to activate it, and there we go. So that's kind of useless. I mean, it's good for showing what it does, but you know, that's just the first thing that you get right off the bat, and it's cheap to do. This guy, however, is a little more costly, and it shows how these things start requiring pretty big sacrifices. Now, this one requires 2 iron ore, which isn't really a big deal, but this is also a pretty simple one, and there are some that get really crazy. There are a couple of them that require you to sacrifice a testificate. So that got me to thinking that you know, I may want to have some testificates trapped in my basement and breed them and use them for human sacrifice. But then I decided that would be far too evil. And this guy didn't work. I'm not sure why, because that was the appropriate sacrifice. But let me do a quick look here. These are all of the mods here. 2 iron ore, yeah, I threw it in. Anyway, it worked off camera, so I don't have any idea. But that rune that I drew would it would lift this column up about to the height of the aura node, and then when you break the top block off of it, it puts it back down. So it's pretty neat. Let me go back down here, and I'll show you what some of what Kim has been working on. She's doing mostly forestry, which she was really disappointed when she found out that it got removed from Tech Ed, so she's been missing that. Yeah, the boots, yeah, they take a little bit of time. I was trying to sidestep to get around that leaf block there, and I wound up jumping up onto the next block over. But anyway, this is the roof, apparently, for what Kim's been doing. I'm not sure what that is down there. I think it's a peat bog. She had the old one up here, but I guess she had too many creeper incursions. This used to be the farm. She's likewise moved that down below. And this is our cow house. This is what I've been maintaining to keep my library well stocked. Cows are frustratingly stingy with their leather. These flowers here, bees pollinate these, so we have a lot of flowers that we normally don't get. I think the only ones Kim planted were these yellow ones and a couple of red ones, and they've been spreading the pollen around. So we get weird things like dandelions, and I think these are just called orange flowers. But anyway. So bees are pretty neat. Looks like she needs to come manage these. Actually, I might just do that for her. She might get mad. I don't know. So yeah, bees make honeycombs. They make a couple of other things. They're pretty neat. You can get some weird resources from them. Like it's a good way to get rubber if you get stringy propolis, and then I think it's stringy. Kim would be able to tell me. Anyway, you can do some things with the propolis to get rubber out of it. So it's a good way if you can't find any rubber trees. This is a tree farm, which since we have Tree Capitator, which I will show you right now, it's not a huge deal to have a tree farm, but it's easy. So Tree Capitator, if I can talk properly, which is a rare occurrence, it breaks all the wood blocks and leaf blocks in a tree, and it can detect when a tree, or rather when some wood has been placed by hand. So it knows not to break your house if you go at it with a log. But it doesn't work with mod trees, which is a little unfortunate, but I'm trying to find ways to work around that. Trying to think if there's anything else that I need to cover. We've got the rubber trees. I could show you guys a Mistcraft age, and I'll show you this guy too while I'm here. Okay, so this guy is one of those one of the torch nodes that I showed you earlier, except I threw a flint onto it before I activated, and that makes it do this. You can throw dye on it to change the color of the beacon, but it just goes straight up to the ceiling, the skybox, and then you know, it just does this. Since we have the minimap mod, it's not a huge navigational aid, but it's pretty useful if you're just walking around the woods and you want to see which way's home without bothering to turn your waypoints on if you happen to have them off. So let me get back inside, and I will show you a Mistcraft age, and then probably cut this video because it's going on a bit longer than I wanted it to. This bookshelf comes from the dust mod as well. It just shows all of the things. You can also use it to make inscriptions, which that's a new part of dust mod, so I haven't added that to the server yet. So basically with the lecterns, you just right click it, you'll see the world and all of its relevant details, and you click the picture to go there. It's pretty quick compared to what it used to be like in the Technic pack. Technic had one of the early versions of Mistcraft, and it was okay, but it took about the same amount of time that it used to take to get to the Nether, which when the Nether first came out, that was a good 20-30 seconds for my computer anyway. So as you can see, it is totally flat, just as the descriptive book said it would be. You get this small stone platform so that even if you would normally spawn into open air, you have somewhere to be, so you don't just fall to your death, which is terrible. Now this pen, this is the holding pen that I created. I don't have the books on me anymore, but I have these crystals here, which I can show you. I've collected a bunch of them, and you can use these to make portals with Mistcraft. You do kind of any kind of design that completely encompasses one plane on the Minecraft world, and then you put a book in it, and it turns into a portal to wherever that book goes. So I made one book in the overworld that goes into the air just above this pen, and I have a similar pen in the overworld that has a book for this world the other way around. I have a book for the overworld for over that pen, so if I find some creature in the overworld or here that I want to move back to our house, I don't have to lead it over a kilometer. My motivation for that was a bug that I ran into earlier where we didn't get any chickens at all. I wound up going a kilometer off to the east trying to find chickens, and we just didn't have any. After I restarted the server, we started getting chickens again, so I don't know what was on there, but it seems to have fixed itself. At any rate, that's what we've been working on. There are still some mods to test. I've been trying to avoid using creative mode, but I may have to get into that just to make sure that we don't run into compatibility issues. So far, things have been pretty good. Had a few block conflicts to deal with, but mostly at this point we're just waiting on LRM to release Red Power, and as soon as that happens, we can move the Tekkit server over to Feed the Beast and be able to add the extra mods that we need to get Feed the Beast up to, what I'm hoping for it to be. So I'll go ahead and cut the video here, and if you guys just let me know on the Minecraft Facebook group that we have what do you think, or leave comments here if you like, then I'd appreciate it.